morning! Good morning, good morning. It is Monday, February 26th, 2018. I'm obviously in my car. Not going to work today because I got stuff to do. I'm going down to Fredericksburg to see my son Peter to help him with some tech stuff. He doesn't like to admit it. He really doesn't like to admit it, that he needs my help with tech stuff, especially when it comes to the Mac and computers and things along those lines. He's a computer user. He doesn't necessarily get all the bits and bobs, but a lot of people don't, so can't really fault him there. The computer he is currently using, or the computer that he had before Saturday, the 24th, that has to be right since it's the 26th today, was a 2010 iMac, 20-inch iMac that I got him for, I think, his birthday. And he had asked, because he'd been using an old Mac Mini that both boys had been using, and I got Guy a computer, and Peter got the Mac Mini. So for his birthday that year, he asked for a more powerful computer from the 2007, 2008 Mac Mini that he had been using. So I said, okay. So I got him a refurbed 20-inch 2010 Mac Mini. And over the years, I'd done a couple of things to it. Increased the RAM. I don't know how much RAM it has now, but I increased the RAM. And I put a larger hard drive in it. And it took, I believe that model was still taking the 3.5-inch drives. Or maybe, regardless, he had a 1 terabyte drive inside the Mac Mini. Well, Peter is a movie maker. He likes to make movies. So video files, being what they are, means that they take up a lot of room. So when he found out that I had gotten the new iMac, the 2017 iMac, refurbed, of course, he asked if he could have my old Mac Pro. This is also a 2010 Mac Pro quad-core Xeon 2.8 gigahertz, 32 gigs of RAM. It's got 4 drive bays. Now, the way I was using it was I had a 2 terabyte SSD as my main boot drive, and then I had a collection of rotational drives for backups and documents and all kinds of other stuff that I was doing throughout the machine. And when I got the iMac, because and there was nothing wrong with the Mac Pro, it just didn't have the horsepower to do live casting without just struggling to the point where it wasn't even worth trying to do anymore. And God knows I tried everything that I could. So he wanted that machine, even though it's the same year as the machine that he already has, but it's a much more powerful machine as compared to that. So I said, okay. And I took out all the drives that I had and put them in an external enclosure so that I would have access to all of my stuff. Now, one of the disadvantages of going to an all-in-one machine like the iMac as compared to having a Mac Pro is your expandability internally, within the machine, is limited to the point of really a joke. iMacs even as far as storage goes, you can't just open up an iMac and put a new drive in. It just doesn't work that way. Apple makes it very, very hard, and it wasn't like it was easy before when the iMacs were much thicker, but they've made it even harder to get into these machines to replace something as simple as a hard drive. Now, with the 27 inches, you can still replace the RAM or put more RAM in, but I have to kind of wonder how long that'll last. But regardless, I needed to get an external enclosure to put all of the drives that I had in the Mac Pro into, or make them available to the iMac, 27-inch iMac. So that's what I did. And I mean, I've got a ton of freaking high capacity drives all over the house. So I found a 2 and a 4 terabyte drive that I wasn't really doing anything with, and I put them into the Mac Pro. Booted the machine, and I had all kinds of trouble because I've got I've done a lot of modifications to that Mac Pro over the years, and one of the things that I did was I got it, in this effort to do live casting, I got it it's a GTX 950 4GB graphics card to replace I think it's a 5750 1GB card that it came with. And this is a card that you can get native to the Mac. It wasn't like it was a special card or anything like that. It was just a 4GB video card. And unfortunately, NVIDIA was taking their sweet time in updating the drivers for this card for the Mac. So when I first got it, I had all kinds of issues. It was a royal pain in the ass, but I finally got it to work reasonably well for what I was using it for. But when I wiped the machine, I could not get it to boot off of anything. So, I mean, I even tried putting the old card back in it, and even that didn't work. So maybe I screwed up the old card somehow when I was taking it out. God knows I had enough trouble getting it out. But anyway, I get this new card in. I finally get drivers for it, and I get it to work. But when I put these rotational drives in, just couldn't get it to work properly. It just was not going to work. And finally, I found a flash drive that I had a Yosemite installer on, and I finally managed to get it to boot off of that. And once I got it to boot off of that, I was able to get, I don't even remember the sequence of events, but I was able to get High Sierra on there to boot. I was still getting the weird video artifacts that I got when I first put that GTX NVIDIA 950 card in it. And so I did the same thing that I did that got it working the last time. I found what I thought was the correct driver, put that in, and then it would start to boot, and then it would just stop. Fortunately, I was smarter about it this time, and before I put the driver in, I used Carbon Copy Cloner to copy the existing information and operating system and everything else that was on the 2 terabyte internal drive that I was able to boot off of. And I copied that over to the 4 terabyte drive, thinking, well, if this thing gets hosed up, I can boot off the 4 terabyte drive. And it got hosed up. So, but I was able to fix it because I had the replacement, or the copy over the 4 terabyte drive. And so I get it down to Peter. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to fix this in post. I say that a lot. And I'm having, I had some of the same kinds of problems, but again, I always made sure that I had a bootable backup. And I get a call from him after I got done with all this, and I got him started in transferring the information over from his old computer. Now, I'm going to take a little digression here. If you have a 1 terabyte drive in a computer, do not fill it to the point where you have less than 15 gigabytes left of free space on that drive. He had 985 gigs filled on a 1 terabyte drive. He had 15 gigs of free space, which is, I don't even know how it ran. And then he had an external 3 terabyte drive that was supposed to be used for backups, that instead he just used to put more video files on. He does these video projects, and when it's done, he's never going to go back to it, but he wants to keep all of the raw footage, which is fine if you have the space for it. But if you have a hard drive that's filled to 99% capacity, and that's the only place that you've got that information, if that hard drive goes, you're toast. It's gone anyway. So don't do that. Anyway, he was having trouble getting some of his information over. And on Saturday, when I'd gone over there, there's a Mac repair place down there that's got, it's kind of a chain. They've got stores in various parts of the country. And I needed a FireWire 800 to FireWire 800 cable so that I could do target mode on his old iMac connected to the new Mac Pro. And they had it, so yay. Got that connected up, and what he asked me to do was, he said, I just want the whole, I have the space, so just take the entirety of this hard drive and put it on the 2 terabyte drive that's internal. I said, you really sure you want to do that? I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I was like, okay, so that's what I did. And then I went home because I wasn't going to hang around and wait for all this information to go over FireWire 800 to the new computer, or my old computer. I get a call from him saying that the process had stopped, that there was some Bluetooth file that stopped it, and he didn't know what to do next. And I told him, I said, look, just go to Spotlight. If you listen to this, you probably know what Spotlight is. Type in, what is that called? Migration Assistant. And then use that program to transfer all the information over, which is what we probably should have done in the first place. Instead of asking him, that's what I should have just done. I should have just said, okay, well, I'm going to set this process up for you. So that's kind of what I'm doing today. And I'm bringing with me a dual enclosure USB that has 2 4 terabyte drives in it. And I didn't even I buy hard drives like other people buy underwear, and it's stupid, but I've got like all these hard drives in a bunch of enclosures. And I'm not going to give him this enclosure because a lot of the other older enclosures that I have, you can't put anything bigger than like a 2 terabyte drive in it because of the firmware that's in the enclosure. So this enclosure and these 2 drives are coming back with me. But I've got it just in case. So, literally what we can do is back everything up from his old computer to this enclosure, and then use this enclosure to get everything onto the Mac Pro, if we have to do it that way. It would be a much easier process than trying to do it through target mode. So that's what I'm doing today. Good morning. Good morning. It is Monday, February. Love this watch. February I don't know. I don't have it set up to tell me easily what the date is. Well, why don't I look at my phone instead? I just texted Peter to tell him that I'm on my way. Okay, it is Monday, February 26th. Let me start over again.